Old school Casios. Are they stylish in 2024, or are you going to look like 68-year-old Bill Gates at a charity fundraiser event? That's some pretty important information if you ask me. Let's start with the calculator Casio. Now, I'm in my early 20s, so when I was in school, this watch was never cool. To me, this watch has never been in style. I mean, we had mobile phones to use as a calculator instead of a watch. Personally, I just don't see the attraction to this watch. Yes, it will last a while, and yes, you can type boobs on the calculator screen for a laugh to show your mates if you're still 15 years old. But what is the actual point of having this watch nowadays? I know there is a big Casio collectors community out there who are going to be extremely angry with my opinion, but I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm giving you my honest thoughts. I tried to search for other celebrities who wear the Casio calculator, and Robert Mueller came up, who was a 79-year-old and is the previous director of the FBI. So again, unless you have grandkids, billions of dollars, I doubt you will want to wear this watch in 2024. Now, of course, the calculator is a piece of history, so I want to give it credit where credit's due. Big watch channels like the Mad Watch Collector will be furious about this opening comment, I have no doubt about that. Next up, we're going with the alarm chronograph. Now, I still see this watch quite often at university. It seems pretty popular with people in their 20s who like to dress indie in the UK. I like this watch a lot more than the calculator. It stands out more and has a more modern look to it. And here's the really big bonus, it doesn't have a calculator on the dial. I know, it's amazing, right? Groundbreaking stuff. But in all seriousness, this watch is a lot more appealing than the calculator. It goes with a lot more outfits. I believe you can pick one up for around £30 right now, and I would seriously recommend the watch. There is still a few watches left on the list that I would rather have than the alarm chronograph. I mean, it's not your tragic Seconda that you bought from duty free, or the Timex you purchased because it looks sort of cool. This is a true and fashionable retro watch, and I don't see it ever getting old. I really hope people can tell the difference between this watch and the calculator watch that we just showed. If not, then just simply notice the absence of buttons. Yep, that's exactly what pleases me with this watch. That's something I wish they had a filter on in Chrono 24. I want to see no buttons on my dial. But I mean, the bracelet is decent. If you're a fan of the channel, you know I over-focus on the bracelet of a watch, as I do think the bracelet plays a big part in the look of a watch on someone's wrist. The Casio Datejust, just to be clear, this is not a retro watch, or the Tiffany Casio as it's sometimes known on the streets, is a good example of a watch with a bracelet that looks good on someone's wrist, but is actually quite cheap, and is likely to cause you some issues as an owner of the watch. It's not all about the appearance, it's also about the quality. My favourite personal bracelet on a budget watch is the Citizen Soyosa, a stainless steel toned bracelet with fold over clasp to ensure security on the wrist. That is just everything I want to hear from a budget watch. But when holding the Soyosa, you can feel the quality compared to holding the Casio, where you feel the lack of quality. But I mean, the finish on the Casio Datejust is just amazing for the price tag. I mean, what other watch can you get for £70 that looks like this? If you're not a fan of the Tiffany, then there is also a green version, and I've owned the blue version for quite a while now, but I want to swap the cheap bracelet out for a rubber strap so bad. But the blue dial, in my opinion, has to be on a silver bracelet. Let me know if you agree there. I would love to change it out though. Let's get back into the retro Casios. Now, if we're going to talk retro, I'm going to name a few watches from my childhood. I'm considered an old man in TikTok years, guys, so let's focus on some timepieces from the early 2000s. The Casio Duro was released in 2005, and I've already made multiple videos touching on that watch, so let's go for this wrist camera thingy. I bet no one has heard or even seen of this watch before, but in June 2000, Casio released the WQV1 wrist camera, a wrist-style digital camera which projected a black and white image onto a plastic-looking watch. I can't really find out if it was some kind of metal or plastic, but it looks plasticky, so we're going to run with that. Now, before I even get into this watch, I'm just going to say the foresight from Casio was just insane. Like, tell me this is not the original Apple Watch. Okay, the camera quality was extremely terrible, but here it was 24 years ago, man. What are you hoping for from a camera watch in June 2000? Sadly, it's not really that stylish. I mean, just be honest, it's not. But it is selling for around £150 regularly on eBay. I'm not trying to give anyone any financial advice, I'm just saying that watch could easily increase over time. Now, if we skip back a few years ago, the Casio G-Shock was released in the 1980s, but I can't find many pics of those watches, so we're going to showcase some more modern ones while talking a little about the older models. I bet those older G-Shocks from the 1980s would still be good to go with a new battery. When I was growing up, my best friend had a G-Shock. He got it for Christmas, and my friendship group ridiculed him for wearing that watch. I mean, he got some serious hate for it, but looking back now, the people bullying him about his G-Shock were wearing Hugo Boss watches from Turkey. So in reality, that G-Shock was 100 times cooler than the watches they were wearing. And he showed me that watch recently. It's still super sick, all blacked out, working fine. So yes, G-Shocks are still cool in 2024, and I think they'll always be cool for like eternity. Like, come on man, it's a G-Shock. If you want to get your hands dirty at work, it'll be fine. If you want to hit it with a hammer, it'll be fine. If you even want to run it over with a bus, it'll be fine. Those watches are like rodents. They could survive a nuclear bomb, which is looking likely with the state of the world. So G-Shock up, people. Our final watch that we're going to touch upon is a bit of a random one. I mean, in my opinion, it's stylish. I love the bracelet, and I think the dial is also pretty smart. A very good watch overall. But I mean, having a solar powered watch like in England, what is the point in it? There's never any sun here. Go to Florida where it's more sunny and you might actually get some use out with that solar panel. Nevertheless, this watch is cool. I like it, and I don't think you can go wrong if you're looking for a first watch. It's pretty cheap and you can get it on Amazon like anytime, any day. So take a look into it, and yeah, as I said, it could be a pretty good first watch. But not only is it solar powered, it also looks pretty durable and affordable, a much better purchase than a Bulova watch, for example. And if you don't know much about Bulova, check out my previous video and like and subscribe for more content.